What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to tonight's Anfield Agenda News Roundup video. Apologies I didn't get a video out yesterday, but it was my day off, so I decided to actually keep it as a day off for once. Anything I speak about in tonight's video, I would love to know your thoughts on in the comment section. Of course, drop a like on the video and please do hit that subscribe button. Let's get straight into it. Will Liverpool sign a midfielder before the window shuts, or will we not? The truth is, I honestly don't know. And like you guys, I'm getting a little bit frustrated by this situation. Many of us, and I include myself in this, believe that even before the injury crisis, Liverpool needed to go out there and get a midfielder. Now, it was great to hear that Jurgen Klopp has changed his stance and that he would like to bring a midfielder in before the window shuts. But that doesn't really necessarily mean it's going to happen. There have been some names doing the rounds. Some of them names that we get excited about, some of them names not so much. But one thing I wanted to start off tonight's video with is Naby Keita, because Melissa Reddy put out a piece earlier on that said Naby Keita's camp have been vocal about not committing to a contract extension at the moment. This really confuses and annoys me. Nothing to do with Melissa Reddy, of course. Melissa's a fantastic journalist. I'm just speaking about the situation. Remember back in the summer where we heard from Naby Keita that Liverpool fans hadn't seen the best of Naby Keita yet? Well, we still haven't, Naby, and you're injured again. So the fact that he is unwilling or doesn't want to talk about contract extensions at this point can mean one of two things. It can mean that he doesn't want to discuss a contract extension with Liverpool because he sees his future elsewhere. Or maybe if we want to give him the benefit of the doubt, it could be that he feels like he isn't deserving of one and he'd like to prove his point. Both are probably true to some extent. But what is true also is that it's been a long time and we haven't seen Naby Keita being able to put together a run of games, being able to really force his way into Jurgen Klopp's starting 11 on a consistent basis, mainly because of injuries. So with that being said, this line that's doing the rounds that it's very difficult to improve on our midfield. And I'm going to bring up something that was in the Echo. And I want to just speak about this because I want to know what you guys think about it, because it's driven me quite mad, to be honest with you. So let me read this out and I'll give you an insight into how I'm thinking. While some supporters will be asking for any sort of addition to ease the problems of an injury-hit midfield, this is currently without Thiago, Curtis Jones, Naby Keita and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. It then goes on to say, a 5-year contract and sizable transfer fee will not be handed out to a player who will find himself at the bottom of a well-stocked pile when everyone eventually returns from prospective layoffs, or their respective layoffs. See, here's what annoys me about this. One, the club obviously have different beliefs about the quality of the midfields we currently have than many of us fans do. Yes, we do have some players who we can get back from injury that will improve us, Thiago being the front runner. But ultimately, Klopp clearly hasn't gotten to a stage where he feels he can trust Curtis Jones yet, because he didn't play him at the end of last season when he could have got minutes. And can any of us really say with good intentions that we couldn't improve on Curtis Jones, we couldn't improve on Chamberlain, we couldn't improve on Milner, we couldn't improve on Henderson, who is deteriorating because of age? Of course we could. But this line that it's very hard to find improvements to this, let's be honest here. The real truth seems to be that it's very hard because our owners aren't willing to go out there and spend money that other clubs are doing and aren't willing to pay wages that other clubs are willing to pay. Now, that sounds very well and good when you put it in perspective alongside the FSG in-brigade or the FSG apologists who say things like the club have been very clever with their money and they highlight all the great stuff. That's true. But my biggest fear, and I'm going to come back to this again, is that we look back at Jurgen Klopp's time at this football club with some regret. And we don't want that to happen. And to me, that is what's going to happen. If we don't sign a midfielder now, it's potentially another season that goes awry without us delivering silverware or really doing what we're potentially capable of doing, which has been the only side really able to push Manchester City. So for John W. Henry to visit Anfield and to see us beat Bournemouth 9-0, that was probably a blessing and a curse. And yes, I understand that Liverpool look for value, but sometimes you just have to understand where the market is and what the value of players are in this current market and stop looking for bargains all the time. Our recruitment business has been very good, but we need to bring a midfielder. So some of the names that have been doing the rounds, Lamer from Leipzig. That's probably quite a decent shout, to be honest with you. He can do a job, no doubt about it, in the short and long term. But other players, we don't know if Barella is available because we know that nobody's put the money on the table. I know I keep coming back to this, but It's very easy to say players aren't available. It's another thing to go out there and get them. Today, West Ham signed Paqueta. Club record transfer fee, 51 million quid. But we're, once again, looking like we're going to be scraping around, looking for a 25, 30 million quid player. We're being linked with Sander Berg, which I'm reliably informed, hopefully, isn't the case, which is great because I've seen his name thrown out. He's not good enough. Let's be honest about it. He's not good enough. And his injury record's horrendous. We don't need another injury-prone midfielder. So, with a few days left in the market, all we can do is hope that common sense prevails and that they aren't willing to just keep putting it off and off and off. Because ultimately, next season, Jude Bellingham coming in will cost a lot of money, in excess of €100 million. So that should be the sole focus. We shouldn't need to be getting second and third midfielders then. Get them in now while they're available in the summer market. I just don't believe this nonsense that we can't improve on the midfielders that we have. It simply isn't true. And when you say this, you're often being pitched against other fans because, oh, you're throwing X and Y under a bus. No, we're just being honest and genuine about the situation that we feel that Liverpool find themselves in. Our transfer business as a whole has been really good. Bringing in Calvin Ramsey, bringing in Carvalho, bringing in Diaz in January, bringing in Darwin. Great, brilliant, no complaints. But we need midfielders. We have an injury-prone list of midfielders. I don't really have anything else to add to that. We got to get this sorted. Now, the good news is a few of our players have returned to training. Calvin Ramsey, Joel Matip, Curtis Jones all returned to training, which is brilliant. Having Matip back will be a great help because having just Virgil van Dijk and Joe Gomez has been great. No problem with them two playing. Very capable, but it's been worrying because we've no backups. So if Matip's back, that'll be great. It'll be lovely to see Calvin Ramsey. But it's also important to point out that Calvin hasn't had a pre-season. Jota won't have had a pre-season. They're going to have to get up to speed, and this will take time. So I want to know, do you really believe that Liverpool will sign a midfielder before the window shuts? Because to me, I've no inside knowledge of this. I'm just trying to give you my perspective. It feels like we're being led astray and we're being kind of sold a pup once again, and we'll be told there was no value in the market. There was nobody out there that could do it. We left it till the last minute. Well, that was a mistake. It should have been done at the start of the window. This stubbornness was a mistake. So if you make a mistake and you acknowledge that you've made that mistake, you're probably going to have to pay a premium at this point in the window, whether our owners like it or not. That's where we are. Players that are definitely available. De Jong, Lamer, players we've missed out on. Gravenberch. Now, I read a piece today that said that Bayern Munich gazumped everybody with their interest in Ryan Gravenberch. Everyone knew that Ryan Gravenberch was running down his deal, and everybody knew that he was going to be available. So why weren't we in for that conversation? There has to be players out there that can come in and help our midfield because it is the weakest area that we have at the football club. Defence, attack, more than stocked. Midfielders, I would say we need 2, and 1 is a bare minimum. Let me know your thoughts, my friends, and I will be back same time, same place tomorrow. And if you've got any players that you'd like to see me discuss, let me know in the comment section. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.